Hi everyone, it's John. We tried to record the actual presentation we did for the parish in the parish hall as far as our strategic plan goes, but we had some technical difficulties and didn't quite come out clearly, or at least all of it didn't quite come out clearly. So I'm going to kind of redo a mini presentation now that re-record basically the gist of what we did on that night, but kind of follow along on the slides while I talk, and you can kind of get a basic idea about what was going on here and what's doing it. And we encourage you to kind of also follow along in the actual plan booklet if you have one of those. If you haven't gotten one of those yet, you can get one in the church office or the parish hall. But the vestry and I have started working on this last February when we initially met to begin to look at kind of the future of St. Thomas. And since then we have met about 30 hours collectively together, as well as there's been a lot of individual hours that have gone into kind of putting this together and getting us to this point. So we have put a lot of thought behind this and are excited about what we have to offer to you, but kind of the goal and the purpose of all of our work as we begin to work and think about the future is to think about how we can carry out the mission that God has given to St. Thomas, and how we can carry out that mission by taking into account the resources that we have. And so, the resources that we're working with, and that includes the time that we have to offer, the money that we have to offer, the number of people we have, all of our parish property, all the spiritual gifts that all the people bring together, how we can organize all of those resources and push them in the direction that's going to be beneficial for St. Thomas and carry out the mission that we feel like that God has given us to do. And so that was kind of our guiding goal as we began to meet and work. And that's what we're attempting to talk about tonight. Now, where we kind of are in this process and what we are anticipating on doing as far as going forward is that we are kind of going through 4 specific steps here as we're going to try to hopefully come in it as we go through this process. Hopefully at the end we have a strategic plan that's going to guide us as a parish together, and that's going to help push us in that direction, and we all understand and we all kind of agree to commit to do that. And so the 4 phases that we're going to be working through here these next months is a reception phase, a consideration phase, evaluate phase, and accept phase. So what we're doing right now is the receiving phase, and that is to make sure and get the plan out to everyone in the church, or at least this initial draft of a plan out to everyone in the church. And then as everyone receives this plan, this proposed plan, what we ask is that everybody would pray about this plan, they would be thinking about it, they would be considering it, and that we would, as everyone considers and thinks about it, then we're going to meet back in October, and this is the 3rd part of our process for kind of an evaluation night. And so on October 17th, we're planning on meeting at 6:30 in the parish hall, and invite everyone to come that night and bring the copy of the plan that you've received, and with all of your suggestions and notes and thoughts that can help improve the plan. So it'll be something that we feel like is going to be the most beneficial for all of us. And then after we meet on the 17th, and we may need to have another meeting to get some more feedback depending on how that meeting goes. But as after the vestry, and I feel like we've gotten good feedback from everyone in the church, we're going to take all that feedback in, and then we're going to try to put it together and tweak the plan so that to make it the best it can be. Now, that process of tweaking the plan, it may take a week or 2. We may be able to have one meeting, and there's a few minor changes that we can make, or there may need some major changes that need to happen. And the bigger the changes that need to happen in the plan are, the longer it's going to take to do it. And then after however much time it takes to get it right, we're going to take that time to get it right. But then the last stage is kind of we've moved to the acceptance stage. And that's when, we finalized the plan, the vestry finalizes the plan, and we decide that we're committed to work towards this and begin to implement that plan. So that's just kind of the process. But let's talk a little bit about, get more into the details. What we started with, or what we took as our beginning point, was our mission statement, our core values, and our vision for the future. Now, our mission statement, core values, and vision for the future, these were all either kind of reaffirmed or drafted during the interim period for St. Thomas when there was no rector. There was a consultant came and helped lead the parish through kind of coming up with these things. And so we kind of accepted that work as our beginning point as we began to think about how we're going to carry forward into the future. So our mission statement, it kind of gives us a guiding principle about the kind of work that we're going to be doing. And so we want to make sure everything that we put in our plan went along with that mission statement. We want to take our core values and say these are the things that are really important to us and have been important to us, and we want to continue to have these things to be important to us. And so we wanted to make sure that our plan aligned with these core values. And then our vision for the future was a really key thing, because the vision for the future was a kind of a hope that the parish put out there. Like, we would like to be this kind of place. We would like to be this kind of church. Let's take a look at this vision statement. Or our vision for the future really consists of 5 statements. 1 in connection to outreach, 1 in connection to youth, kids, 1 in connection to adults, 1 in connection to worship, and 1 in connection to growth. So we kind of have these 5 statements. And largely we kept it exactly like we received it, but we did recommend making a few changes. And so we'll definitely want to hear about your thoughts about whether you think these changes should be made or not. But the 3 changes we wanted to offer to you to consider are: there's a change here that we thought about eliminating Christian childcare here from our outreach vision, and to expand. Originally, the vision said just youth, and we thought it was worthwhile to specifically put children in there and to name that. And so we kind of reworked that vision to name children and youth. And then to remove young adults from that kind of vision statement and just kind of assume young adults into our vision statement about adults. So those are 3 changes. So take a look at that and definitely give us feedback come October 17th, whether you think those are good changes or not. But we had these 5 vision statements, and we began to develop objectives. We decided to work on developing objectives that would lead us or help us know if we were getting closer to this vision or not. And so, for example, let's just look at one of them. We have objectives for each of our 5 statements, but let's look at the one that's in dealing with children and youth. So when you look at this, notice we have this sentence here that we put underneath the vision statement. We will be closer to making the above vision with children and youth a reality for St. Thomas when we as a parish reach the following goals. So we're kind of setting these goals to be markers for us. So we're going to youth are going to be involved in some kind of missional effort. They're going to go and spread the good news of Jesus. And they're going to do that at least once every 2 years. So some kind of big mission trip. The youth group's going to have at least 30 teenagers in it, 30 active teenagers. All 6 of our Sunday school classes for children and youth, they're each going to have 2 qualified teachers. So we have to have 12 qualified teachers. Every year, the children and youth are going to enjoy at least 3 opportunities to join with other children and youth from other churches. So we want to be connected with other Christians across the Episcopal Church as well as interdenominationally. We have here that St. Thomas is going to hold an annual retreat. We're going to have a retreat for our families where parents with their kids and teenagers can go and have some time growing together and become better at being disciples of Jesus. And then our last objective is 30 children are active in the children's ministry. So we set these objectives down, so these are going to be things that we're going to use to mark our progress, whether or not we're reaching the vision statement there with children and youth. Now, are other things probably going to occur? Yes. But these are just some specific things that we felt like that were worth naming that would help keep us on track. All right, and what we need to remember about these objectives is these objectives are going to take 5 years to kind of fully accomplish. We're not expecting that once we start this plan that this is all done in 2 months, but this is what we're kind of working towards. So, the youth are going to kind of work to have more teenagers there. They're going to begin to plan and think about a family retreat, but it may be 4 years before we ever have the first family retreat. because of just got to get everything together and make sure that it's working, and it's going to take some time. And so we're going to be patient about kind of having this thing come together. So we have our objectives that are going to mark us as we go towards vision. And so then the next thing that we need to look at is how are we going to get there? What are we going to do? And that's really kind of where our ministry jobs come in. And we have a whole lot of ministry jobs here at the parish right now. But what we recognize is that we really need some kind of better organization of all of our ministry work. And so we decided to come up with some leadership teams and positions. And these various leadership teams and these various leadership positions are going to be the organizers and decision makers for the parish in regards to all of our ministries. So we're still going to have all the individual different jobs, but we're going to have these teams and these positions each have certain responsibilities that they are going to oversee. And they're going to be, we as a parish are going to ask these different teams to do this work specifically. So we have all these jobs. So let's take a look at one of our potential leadership teams. So we've already looked at our vision statement for children and youth and some of those objectives. So let's take a look at the children's leadership team, just by way of example to get a feel for what one of these teams looks like. So the children's leadership team, so each leadership team is going to have a mission statement that kind of says this is what you are responsible for and what the church is asking you to do. So here very clearly, the leadership team for children, they need to coordinate all activities and ministry involving children. And for us, children is going to be birth to 5th grade. So if there's something that's going on with children, this team is going to be responsible for kind of organizing and overseeing it. Notice here also we have the objectives, again, listed on the children's leadership, they're kind of the specific objectives that they're kind of responsible for pushing the parish towards and continually bringing that to our attention and continually work to make it happen. Each leadership team is going to consist of a number of people. And so on this page, so who's going to be on this leadership team? There's going to be a chairperson for this team and then 2 other people. So it'll be a total of 3 people that serve on this team. And then each leadership team has a number of actions. And this gives us more details about specifically what we want this leadership team to do. So, for the children's leadership team, we want them to track attendance for all their activities, including Sunday school. They need to teach the Christian faith. They need to teach Christian worship. They need to encourage children to share their own faith journeys and listen to others share about their faith journeys. They need to coordinate vacation Bible school each summer. They need to supervise, recruit, and train nursery workers, teachers, and volunteers for children. So this group is going to be responsible for all the other people that work in our various children's ministries. And this leadership team, though, is going to be responsible for resourcing these people, making sure they have what they need to do the ministry that they're being asked to do. They're going to be responsible for doing the training and recruiting people. And then they're going to have to follow all of our safeguarding guidelines, and that's a diocesan policy. And then each leadership team has some, what you'll find on each of these leadership teams as you get your book and look at it, it's going to be follow expectations for leadership teams guidelines. So there's a certain set of expectations that we expect each leadership team to kind of live by. And all the leadership teams across the church, so whether it's for children or whether it's for our property or whatever the leadership team is, they are expected to follow these guidelines. So let's take a look at what these guidelines are. And what this allows is that all of our leadership teams are going to be kind of working in the same kind of manner, in the same kind of format. They're going to be operating according to the same things. So, first thing that you'll notice that every leadership team is going to have a chairperson. There's going to be kind of a chief leader for that leadership team. And the responsibilities for that chairperson for each team they're going to be the communication person for that team. So they're going to communicate between the team and the vestry, between the team and the rector, between the team and the rest of the parish. They're going to communicate from the team and to all the other volunteers in that ministry. Okay. They're responsible for organizing meetings of the leadership team. And kind of our expectation that we're going to be working off is that each leadership team needs to meet once a month. They're going to be kind of a cheerleader. They're going to be constantly encouraging everyone who's involved in the ministry and challenging everyone to kind of stay true to the guidelines and the objectives of the ministry. That, hey, remember our mission. So if I'm on the children's leadership team, remember, we are responsible for coordinating all the ministries and activities for the children of the parish. So we need to be about that. We need to work to make that happen. We need to be constantly thinking about that. Okay? And then the chairperson is going to spiritually lead the ministry. They need to be a person who can be in tune with their own relationship with God, and as well as lead other people in that venue. Each leadership team is going to maintain a notebook. Okay, so there will be a notebook that will be for the children's leadership team, and in this notebook is going to contain kind of all the information about the ministries that fall underneath that team. So there's going to be a record of all the minutes from the meetings of all these leadership teams. There's going to be, any kind of procedures, guidelines that this ministry has will be contained in this notebook. So, for instance, like the children's leadership teams, one of their action items is about Vacation Bible School. So there might be in the children's leadership team notebook, there might be a little tab with Vacation Bible School, and in there's all kinds of information about Vacation Bible School, the kinds of usual practices and things that they do and don't do. Okay, any regular procedures. In the children's leadership team, children are minors, so anytime we do an event, we need to have parents' permission. So there should be a little thing in there about, in the children's leadership team, about how do we get parents' permission? What's the release form? What does the release form look like? What kind of information needs to be on there? So that would be in the notebook. Plans, things that they're working on for the future will be in that notebook. Contact information for the ministry. So this would be all the list of the volunteers. In the children's leadership team, you'll probably have contact information for all the children and their family that the parish is in contact with, so that you can communicate with those people. And then another thing that's going to be in the notebook is there's going to be action item list. There will be, and this is just to help the ministry team continue to work. So each meeting, they'll make a list of things that need to be done. The action items just works through to assign each of those things that needs to be done to a particular person to carry out that work, and then to report back to the group next time they meet. So C, looking at C there, another thing that the leadership teams will do is they'll fill out monthly reports. And these monthly reports are kind of a tool to help the ministry. And it's going to be, the report should be able to be filled out in about 5 minutes. It should not be a long process. It should not be something that requires a lot of thought once you get kind of to the end of the meeting and you need to fill out this report. So first thing you're going to answer is, what ministry successes have you experienced this month? So the children's leadership team. Hey, we had 3 new children visit Sunday school. Hey, that's success. That's something that we can be thankful for, we can praise God about, and we can say, hey, that's good work there. Next question to answer, what are your plans for the future? So the children's leadership needs to be, hey, what are we working for? Hey, summer's coming. Vacation Bible School's coming. We need to be working on that. So that's what we're working on. We're working on recruiting more volunteers to help with Sunday school. We're working on da-da-da-da-da. Whatever it is, this is what you're working on. And then the last question is what do you need to kind of continue your work and carry out your ministry? Do you need more money? Do you need more volunteers? Are you experiencing some kind of problem? Do you need new ideas? Do you need to go to some training? And these reports are going to be turned into the vestry and the rector, and so the vestry and rector can look at that and say, oh, the children's leadership team needs $500 to do X, Y, or Z. And then the vestry can meet and make that decision whether or not they have money and they think that's a good use of the money, and then report back to the leadership team, here's your money. Or, oh, we need more volunteers, so we need to work on how can we get more volunteers into children's ministry. So you fill out that report each time. Each leadership team is going to be given money. The vestry is going to budget money for children's ministry. And the children's leadership team will be responsible for the use of that money. And again, this is so key here, this last thing on E. Each leadership team is empowered and has the responsibility to carry out the assigned ministry on behalf of the people of St. Thomas. Carry out the work. the church is looking to you to be in charge and lead this work if you're on one of these leadership teams. Okay. Notice here we also have some leadership positions, and there's a few they're very similar expectations as far as the leadership teams goes, except there's not all the stuff about meeting, because leadership positions imply there's only a single person. Okay. But you're still going to have to maintain a notebook, still going to need to fill out maintain a notebook for that position. And notice this note here at the end. The vestry and I talked about this quite a bit, and one of the things that we wanted to be very careful of and mindful of is that as we move forward, that we are not overburdening people. We recognize that is easy to do in church work. And so we put some kind of some restrictions on our leadership team assignments. First off, each assignment is going to be for a 1-year commitment. So if you sign up to be on the children's leadership team, it's only going to be for 1 year. Now, at the end of that year, several things might happen. You might say, man, I love this work. I want to keep doing that work. And we might and everything's going well, and you're going to stay on for another year. Okay? Now, at the end of the year, you might say, well, I really don't like doing this work. I don't feel like I'm being productive. Maybe I can serve in another capacity. And then you move off, and we'll move somebody else in to take your spot. Or you may be thinking about, as I look at this next year, I don't think I'm going to have the time to commit to this leadership team, and so I'm going to kind of peel back for the time being. And so you step off, and then we get somebody else in there. So we're going to be working on this 1-year time commitment, and knowing that if at the end of 1 year, if you don't want to do it anymore, no one's going to think less of you. No one's going to think anything except, great, we appreciate your year of service, and we hope that you can find someplace else in the church, and we're going to be working to find the right place for you. Then the second part of this is that no one can serve on more than one team or position, except for vestry members who may serve on the vestry and on one other team or position. So you can only be on one leadership team or have one leadership position. So you can't be on the children's leadership team, you can't be on the property leadership team, you can't be on the youth leadership team, you can't be on all of them, or even multiple ones. You can only be on one. Vestry members can be on the vestry and another leadership team, and that's it. And the reason that we wanted to do that, again, we don't want people to be overburdened. Secondly, these leadership teams are given significant responsibilities of planning and organizing and meeting, and the people that serve on this team need to have the time to do this work. It's important work. Each of these teams we feel like is important. And thirdly, we want to open up, part of us being a vibrant, growing parish is we have increased participation in the work of the church. And having more people on more leadership teams helps that come true. The more people we have involved, the more opportunity there is to be involved. And so we're going to limit what people can do so that others can step in and do that work. So that's kind of the expectations for all our leadership teams that they're working off of. All right. Look at this next slide here. Now, part of this next slide that we need to think about is this kind of the last piece of the puzzle that we're presenting to you is thinking about our culture of ministry here at St. Thomas. That we recognize that as we engage in this kind of work and as we live out our Christian calling as a community, that how we go about and do this work is important that we consider, and that we do this in a Christian manner, and we do it in a way that as we eventually reach our vision, that we still like each other when we get to that vision, that we still enjoy being around with each other, that we've enjoyed the work that we've done together and committed to. So what we've developed is a page that's our culture of ministry page. And again, this is just some guidelines that we set out, that this is how we're going to relate to one another, and this is how we choose to work together to kind of carry out the ministries we've been given, to accomplish these objectives, and hopefully reach our vision. And so if you look on page 10 in the booklet, you'll see the culture of ministry at St. Thomas. Again, these are not things that we will necessarily all be able to live up to every single day or every single month or every single year. That I will fail at these things from time to time. Others will fail at these things from time to time. And that's our initial paragraph basically states that. But we're going to be forgiving to one another. We're going to, when we experience that, we're going to provide grace to one another. Our Lord provides grace and forgiveness to us, and we can do that for one another. But we are going to have these standards and these principles that we want to try to live up to, and we're going to try to encourage one another and challenge one another to live up to these. So just taking a look at them, so it's things like we choose to be open and transparent with our actions and decisions. We're going to be open about our communication. We choose to learn and grow. We recognize that we don't have it all figured out, and we'll continue to try to learn. We are going to we choose to empower members of the parish. We fundamentally, if we adopt this plan, we're going to say, look, we want people to feel empowered to go out and do work within this parish and to know what they're empowered to do. We choose to value relationship over isolation. We're going to make that commitment to be connected to one another as opposed to being separated from one another. And again, you can look through and read through all of those various values. Again, look at them, write down your thoughts about them, come back in October, tell us which ones you like, which ones you don't, which ones you think could be improved, maybe something that needs to be added to the list, and let us know. Again, we are hopeful that this plan is going to declare a structure for us, a structure that we can all kind of commit to adhere to, that's going to help our parish function, and that this plan is going to lead us into our future life together, so that we're kind of being purposeful with all of our resources, our people, our money, our stuff, our spiritual gifts, and that we're working together to do the work that God's given us to do. And as we carry out that work, we will maintain our commitment to our mission statement and our core values. So take a look over this plan, pray about this plan, consider all the different parts, mark up your booklet, add things, subtract things, write down your thoughts, get back to us, and then come on October 17th at 6:30 at the parish hall, ready to share that feedback. I'm looking forward to hearing what your thoughts are about this at that meeting, and getting your feedback and looking at how we can make this plan better. And I know the vestry and I are excited overall about the future here at St. Thomas. We're excited about what is to come, and the potential and the possibilities, and we remain open to God's work in our lives and the lives of this community. And we're excited about what God's doing and what God will be doing. And we're excited about you now kind of coming into this process. We've been antsy to get to this point because we've been doing so much work, and it's just been necessary for us to kind of get a lot of things out of the way and to have something to present to you. But now that we're at this point, we're excited about presenting to this, and we're excited about hearing your thoughts about it. And ultimately, we're excited about what kind of comes together through this process that we're entering into now. What kind of comes together for us as St. Thomas to kind of go forth with. We know there's a lot of work ahead still to kind of get this plan ironed out, and we know there's going to be a lot of work ahead even after we decide on this plan and we commit to it, that we begin to do. And so spend your time, look through this document, look at it multiple times over multiple days, pray about it, and get back to us here on the 17th. We're excited, and just again, thank you so much for your willingness to kind of listen to this presentation and to give us your thoughts. We recognize that whatever plan we come up with will not be successful unless, the majority of the people here at St. Thomas kind of commit to it, because it's going to require all of us to work. I can't just do it as the priest. If I'm the only one working, it's not going to be good. If the vestry is the only people that are working, it's not going to work out. If it's only a few parishioners here and there that are working, it's not going to work out. It's going to take a commitment from all of us. And when we're all committed and we're all on board and we're all working together, we can do some great things. And we all are open to what God wants to do in our lives. And we can do things that are going to have eternal consequences and an eternal impact on the lives in our own lives, but also the lives of the people in the larger Wharton community. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your work. Thanks for your love. Thanks for your prayers.